Now, Frank, the second half, the Raptors never went away.
Yeah.
And I think you brought this point up already, but it's good to go back to it. The Nets knew what they were up against tonight, knew it was at stake, and they did what they did. They wound up beating them almost by 15, if not for that late three there by the Raptors. But they come out, they get the job done. And as you said, and as Cam Johnson said in the pregame show, our focus is to win this regular season game.
It absolutely is. And I think the one thing about the in-season tournament with, when the league eventually adds two teams, which is going to happen, if you want to gamble, you could say it's going to be Vegas, no pun intended, and Seattle. And this way, you'll have four groups of four teams, and maybe you get to a point where you play everybody twice, which is really the fair way to do it, because the Brooklyn Nets having to play the Boston Celtics, that was the best team in the group to begin with. You only get to play them one time in their building. But again, to go 3-1 in that group, I thought it was very impressive what the Brooklyn Nets did. And to be, you're going up against good competition in this style format. And I think for Jacques Vaughn tonight, coming into the game, he wasn't going to worry about the score. Toward the end of the game, you could see him communicating with the assistant coaches, probably trying to figure out how many points they needed. But that was almost after he knew that they were going to win the game, and they played right to the finish.
And to your point, too, going 3-1 in the first edition of the in-season tournament, no Ben Simmons. Cam Johnson missed a lot of time. Cam Thomas wasn't out there tonight, and you brought that up to me when we were watching the game. They could really use a Cam Thomas now.
That's the kind of guy, like in the last 5 minutes, if the Nets are up by 5 or 6 points, you'd say, hey, Cam, we need some points. And he would think that Jacques Vaughn wouldn't be able to finish the sentence. He would say, I got you, coach. I know exactly what you want, and I know exactly how to do it. So, again, I think that's a really good point you bring up, though. They're not at full strength, and they did really well. And you look at where they are right now in the standing, especially after forget about the in-season tournament. Look at the schedule that they had to start the season. They've played, a bunch of good teams. They've already played Milwaukee. You've played Philadelphia. You've played Boston twice. You've played Miami twice.
Lost a tough one to Dallas. Lost a tough one to Cleveland, and they're a game over 500.
That's right.